This is episode 14 of the One Idea podcast, How to Create Your Brand Story. This podcast is produced by Evolve and Adapt, a certified management consulting and digital implementation firm based in Singapore and Malaysia. If you're looking for a professional team to position your brand and grow your business to the next level, speak to us at evolveadapt.com. Dear citizens, my name is JC Sum. I'm a certified marketing management consultant and the author of Evolve, Adapt or Collapse. Let me tell you a story of a client. He's a business owner of a counterfeiting protection company and his name is GK. His brand story starts with a business trip in China in 2011. As a security solution consultant, he was very wary of counterfeit products in Asia, especially after the fake milk powder incident in 2008. Even being cautious, he was not able to avoid drinking fake branded alcohol, which resulted in a very bad headache. Desperately looking for medication to relieve the pain, GK went to many medical shops in Shanghai. However, many brands did not have a way for customers to authenticate whether the medicine was genuine and safe to take. Despite his headache, he was clear-minded enough to realize that the ability for product authentication was lacking for many brands, and it was something that can be done much better. In 2016, Nabcore was established in Singapore with a focus in providing meaningful counterfeiting protection and tracking solutions. Let me share with you another story that's closer to home. This is actually a story I tell in our team handbook that is only meant for our firm's team members to read, but I thought I'll share it with you, my One Idea listeners. The idea of my firm, Evolve and Adapt, was first conceived in mid-2019 and was formally incorporated just before boarding a flight back to Singapore from Bangkok in December 2019. That's right, I registered the business over my phone. So great job, Singapore government, for all the digital services for the government. The name Evolve and Adapt was born out of my own career evolving and adapting to management consulting after a 20-year career in the entertainment and event management industry. The name also reflects the ethos of change that many clients need in the digitally evolving world. Within a few short years, Evolve and Adapt has tripled in size, opened an office in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, built a steady stream of clients and gained recognition in a highly competitive market. This modest success is due to all the members of the team working towards a common vision of creating high differentiated value for clients and the firm. In our introductory deck to clients, they're requested to scroll through the pages to learn who we are, what we do, and how we work. They will also read letters from some of our satisfied clients. When a client engages with our firm to grow their business in the digital economy, they get the best of both worlds. The greatest unique value offered to clients is the powerful combination of strategic marketing management consultancy with the technical expertise of a digital marketing agency. This is the necessary mix to evolve and adapt in today's market. Let me share with you the stories of two more businesses. Have you heard of Ramly Burger? If you are from Singapore or Malaysia, you would have definitely seen a Ramly Burger store in night markets. For most of my life, I always thought Ramly Burger was the name of a Malaysian hamburger chain that set up stalls in night markets. It was only fairly recently that I learned that Ramly Burger refers to the brand of meat patties. But Ramly Burger is such a strong brand that all the hamburger vendors sell their stalls based on the fact that they use Ramly Burger patties. It all started in 1978 when Ramly, who was working as a meat cutter at the time, began reading about halal burgers in the news. Many Malaysians were concerned whether the imported burger patties were halal at the time. Ramly and his wife saw a business opportunity and decided to start making their own burger patties. An important part of Ramly's brand success is the concept of halalan toyibah. Halalan Toyiba merely means allowed and permissible for consumption with relation to Sharia law, as long as they are safe and not harmful. This brand message has won Ramly products the confidence of the market and made Ramly Burger the primary choice and household brand among consumers. Here's one more story. Piktochart started when Ai Ching, co-founder and CEO, decided to leave her corporate job to venture into the digital space. She shared, "I started seeing infographics on news portals and was excited by the idea of letting people create their own visuals on their own without the help of a designer." Along with her business partner Andrea, the duo started out as a web design agency. Like most first-time entrepreneurs venturing into something new, it was all ground zero for Ai Ching and Andrea in the beginning. We didn't know how to start or scale a business. We had no knowledge of experience trying to run a business. A lot of things we know today are learned through trial and error. Before long, Piktochart was noticed by the tech world for its unique DIY infographic platform. One of the most fundamental marketing communication techniques is the ability to craft and communicate your brand story. A brand story is a marketing asset that communicates your brand's guiding principles and impacts every facet of the organization. In other words, it's not just a marketing message. It is also a sales pitch and a roadmap for the management and employees. A brand story is more than content and a narrative. The story goes beyond what's written in the copy on a website, the text in a brochure, or the presentation used to pitch to investors or customers. Your story isn't just what you tell people, it's also what they believe about your business and your brand based on the signals you send. The story is a complete picture made of facts, feelings, and interpretations, which means that part of your story isn't even told by you. So how do you go about crafting your brand story? I will share 3 approaches to creating a brand story. The first is the problem, solution, and success approach. It really takes its cue from traditional storytelling because every story, whether it's a book or a movie, has a beginning, middle, and end. So this is pretty much the same. The beginning of your brand story is the problem. So explain the problem that you set out to solve. The middle is the solution, so describe the solution that you offer the market. And finally, the end, that is the success. Get excited about the success your solution has produced. The stories of Nabcore and Ramly Burger that I told earlier are examples of this problem, solution, and success approach. It is also the most common approach to crafting a brand story. As a result, there's a danger for a brand story to feel too familiar. In fact, if you read a lot of brand stories, it often feels like it is the same story, just a change in the names or the products. Here's a tip to make your brand story feel more unique, and that is to add personality. Ensure that you have a brand voice which is unique to you. Choose a personality that fits your brand, that communicates your values, your message, and your purpose. It can be professional, it can be fun, cheerful, optimistic, or even sexy. Whatever works for you. But by adding in personality to your brand story, it helps to make it more unique. The second brand story approach is to tell the founder's story in a compelling and interesting way. The stories that I told you about Piktochart and Evolve and Adapt are examples of this approach. This is also a very common approach to crafting a brand story. The good thing about this approach is that the stories are unique most of the time. That is because everyone's experiences and journeys are different. The key is to take elements that are most compelling and provide value to the brand and the customer. Avoid telling long stories that do not explain the purpose or value of the brand. A brand story is not an autobiography or memoir. Many times, companies spend too much time trying to tell the founder's story that it often becomes a bit tiresome, and due to the modern audience's attention span, they lose interest. Keep it short and simple. Also try to take the most interesting parts of the story and weave it into the brand story. While it is important to be authentic, marketing does allow you to take some creative liberties. Finally, the third approach is essentially a combination of the first two approaches. State the problem, offer the solution, and share the success, but frame it around the founder's personal journey. This is a best of both worlds approach, but that does not mean it is always the right choice. It will take an expert copywriter to craft this approach to ensure it is concise, clear, and more importantly, ties back to the brand's purpose and values. Here's the one idea of the episode. If you are a brand owner or senior management for a company, think about your brand story. Do you have one? If not, think about how to craft that brand story. Which approach will you adopt? Can you do it yourself, or do you need professional help? One pro tip is to ensure the brand story fits into half a page or less. Less is more, and a few well-crafted sentences can communicate your brand story much better than a full page of text. I ended this episode with a quote from marketing author and speaker Seth Godin. A great story is true, not necessarily because it's factual, but because it's consistent and authentic. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the One Idea podcast. Catch every episode by subscribing to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or on your favorite podcast app. Just search for One Idea. ONEEYEDEER. As you know, a podcast needs listeners' reviews to grow, so please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This ensures we can keep this podcast free forever. Check the show notes for details. If you'd like to learn more about the podcast, myself, or our consulting firm, head over to oneideapodcast.com. My name is JC Sum, and this has been One Idea.